The rain was falling hard that evening, drumming against the pavement in a relentless rhythm. People rushed past, huddled under umbrellas, lost in their own worlds. But one man, soaked to the bone, moved slowly along the sidewalk. His shoes squished in the puddles, and his coat hung loosely on his shoulders, offering little protection from the cold. He didn't seem to notice the rain, or maybe he didn't care. He was too absorbed in the weight he carried, an invisible burden that pressed on his chest with every step. No one noticed him, no one stopped. No one, except for one pair of eyes from a nearby cafe. A woman watched him through the rain-specked window. She couldn't explain why, but something about him tugged at her heart. She saw the exhaustion etched into his face, the subtle slump of his shoulders, the way he seemed to carry the world on his own. And in that moment, she knew she had to do something. Before we dive deeper into this story, if you enjoy tales that warm the heart and restore your faith in humanity, please make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. We love hearing your stories and spreading kindness together. His name was Daniel, a man in his early 40s with kind eyes that had long ago grown weary. He had lost track of how many nights he had walked these streets, trying to escape the memories of a life that had fallen apart. A few years back, he had been working a steady job, paying bills, and dreaming of a family he would one day have. But life has a way of throwing unexpected storms, and Daniel had felt every single one. The loss of his job, the eviction notice on his apartment door, and the endless series of rejections that seemed to echo, louder than the laughter of others living their perfect lives. That evening, Daniel's stomach grumbled, a reminder that he had eaten nothing since morning. He stopped at a corner grocery store and bought the cheapest sandwich he could find. Sitting on a curb under a flickering streetlight, he unwrapped it carefully, savoring each bite as if it were a feast. Around him, people hurried by, some too busy with their own lives to notice the man shivering in the rain. Some nights, that invisibility was easier to bear. Other nights, it crushed him. The woman from the cafe, whose name was Emily, had been drinking her coffee slowly, pretending to read a book. But her eyes kept drifting back to him. She noticed how carefully he unwrapped the sandwich, how grateful he seemed for something so small, and she realized that she had never truly seen this level of quiet resilience before. Daniel didn't know anyone was watching him. And that anonymity, that isolation, was exactly why Emily decided to act. She slipped on her coat and stepped out into the rain. With a gentle approach, she knelt beside him. "Excuse me," she said softly. Daniel looked up, startled, unsure of what to expect. His life had taught him caution, mistrust, and the belief that no one offered help without expecting something in return. But Emily's eyes were warm, her smile genuine. "Would you like some hot soup? I just picked some up, and I thought you might need it." Daniel froze, overwhelmed by a mix of disbelief and gratitude. No one had ever offered him something without judgment or a hidden motive. He hesitated, then slowly nodded. She handed him the steaming cup, and he cradled it in his hands like it was a lifeline. The warmth seeped into him, not just physically but emotionally. He realized, in that simple act, that someone had truly seen him, not the broken parts, not the failures, but the person underneath, still worthy of care. As they sat there on the curb, sharing a quiet moment amidst the rain, Emily didn't ask about his past. She didn't lecture him or offer advice. She simply sat and listened, letting Daniel speak in fragments, in broken sentences that made sense only to him. He told her about the job he lost, the apartment he couldn't keep, and the nights when he wondered if anyone cared enough to notice. And with every word, he felt a little lighter, as if the rain had washed away not just the physical dirt but some of the emotional weight too. Emily didn't stop at soup. She offered him a blanket from her car, warm socks, and even a ride to a nearby shelter that offered temporary housing. It wasn't much, she admitted, but it was a start. Daniel, humbled and tearful, accepted everything. He had long ago stopped believing that strangers could be kind, that small gestures could ripple into life-changing moments. Yet here was proof that they could. The following days were not instant miracles. Life, as always, had its hardships. Daniel still had to navigate a world that could be unforgiving. But he found strength in that single encounter, in the realization that kindness exists even in the most unexpected places. He began to pay attention more, seeing people's struggles, offering a smile to a weary cashier, holding a door open for someone juggling too many bags. The small acts multiplied, and slowly, a sense of hope returned to him. Emily continued to check in on him, but she never made him feel obligated. She understood that kindness isn't about control or expectation, it's about genuine care. One afternoon, Daniel managed to get a temporary job at a local bookstore, and for the first time in months, he felt capable again. Every paycheck didn't erase the past, but it offered a glimpse of a future where he could stand on his own feet again. And he remembered that it all started with someone noticing him, truly noticing him, when no one else did. Months later, the roles reversed in subtle ways. Daniel, now steadier on his feet, helped a young man struggling with heavy grocery bags. He offered guidance to a lost tourist. He smiled at neighbors, taking the time to make someone's day just a little easier. The chain of kindness continued, unseen by many, yet profoundly felt by those who received it. Daniel understood something essential: kindness isn't just about charity, it's about humanity, about acknowledging the invisible struggles of others and offering a bridge when it's needed most. He didn't know it at the time, but Emily had shared his story quietly with a local community group. Soon, others were inspired by the encounter, reaching out to help those who were struggling, donating food, blankets, and most importantly, their time and attention. A single act of noticing, of caring, had begun to ripple outward, touching lives far beyond that rainy street corner. Daniel often reflected on that night. He realized that kindness is contagious, not because it demands reciprocation, but because it awakens empathy. He thought about how one small gesture can transform someone's life, giving them hope to face another day. He thought about the warmth of a simple soup in the rain, the reassurance of a smile, the power of being seen. And he vowed, silently but firmly, to keep the circle of kindness alive. Even now, when he walks past that corner where he once sat, Daniel smiles. He knows that many people are quietly watching, offering care in small ways, and that sometimes, the simplest actions can have the greatest impact. He understands that life doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful, and that even in the darkest moments, there is light, sometimes appearing as a stranger with a cup of soup, sometimes as a simple smile, sometimes as a listening ear. The story of Daniel and Emily is not unique, but it is powerful. It reminds us that kindness matters, that noticing someone when they feel invisible can change their trajectory in ways we might never fully comprehend. Every small act, every gesture, has the potential to echo beyond what we can see, shaping lives in profound and lasting ways. So, the next time you see someone struggling, remember Daniel. Remember that even a single moment of attention, care, or compassion can ignite hope in a heart that feels forgotten. And perhaps, in doing so, you'll become the reason someone else decides to keep going, to try again, or to pass that kindness along, because in the end, we never know who's watching us or who needs to see a little kindness to believe that they, too, are seen, valued, and worthy of care. Conclusion: kindness is simple, yet it carries unimaginable power. A single gesture can heal, inspire, and transform lives. You don't have to have wealth, influence, or fame to make a difference. Sometimes, all it takes is noticing someone, offering your time, a smile, or a small act of care. Today, let's carry that lesson forward. Reach out, look around, and ask, who needs to feel seen today? You might just be the light someone needs in their storm. Remember, one small act can ripple far beyond what we imagine. Be that ripple. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people again.